Well, like any long holiday weekend, we come out of this thing ready to. Let me take my headphones off here for a second. I'll put those on. We have some sound for you today. We come back on a Monday ready to roll, get the economy going again. Out of a weekend that had some bad, some really bad, some good, some interesting, some surprising, and overall, for me, a takeaway that this golden age of America is a very, very real thing. But with that said, thanks for finding Wicked Radio, the Wicked Radio live stream, all part of Wicked Wisdom with Bill Adams. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you as always. Also on the replay, which is where most of you find us. And by the way, a lot of new eyeballs these days on the live stream and the podcast in general, and a lot of listeners as well. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you very much. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I don't get a chance to say that enough. You're not coming to me for heavy news analysis, even though I might have some insight on some things. You're coming to me to tell you, just like anybody would, you'd meet at a barbecue like you did this past weekend, or somebody you talk to on a bar stool, or somebody you talk to that's a family friend that might have a different way of looking at things. That's why I'm here. But anyway, thanks for being here too. I appreciate it as always. Don't forget, oh, by the way, the audio podcast posted as soon as we get off, even when we're on the road like this. So that'll be available probably within 15 minutes after the live stream airs up. And then, of course, the replay on X and on YouTube and on Facebook as well. So all that good stuff. You know how it works. Whatever. Your favorite channels. That's how that works. Well, this was interesting, and I think it doesn't surprise anybody that was coming. We all saw it happen, and everybody's pointing to the golden moment, not the golden escalator moment when Trump announced he was running the first time. The golden revealing moment when Elon showed up in the Oval Office with that black eye, and then all of a sudden things seemed to go downhill from there. Maybe. It's a fun theory anyway. I don't know. Fisticuffs with Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary? Maybe. It's fun to think about. We'll never get the real answer, I don't think anyway. But what we do know now is this. Everything that Elon was saying the first go-around, the first tiff with Trump was true. He's very, very upset about the big, beautiful budget bill, which incredibly was signed on the 4th of July. That was quite the event, by the way. You want to talk about symbolism. That was, that couldn't have gone any better for Trump. And Mike Johnson, by the way. This was a massive win for Mike Johnson. He is in Trump's loyalty section forever now after pushing this thing through and getting it done. Was it everything we all wanted? No. Was it everything that Elon wanted? Oh, not even close. Some, and we all know there's good stuff in there, but there's a long way to go. But then it got all swampy and all political, and, you know, not all the NGOs that they discovered that are crooked and corrupt got blasted. It didn't do much to control the deficit, we know that. But let's not forget there are good things in there. But coming out of this, Elon is so upset about it that he has now, as you've heard by now, launched the America Party. Now, this is interesting because most of the reaction from most of the MAGA friends that I have and MAGA people that I know online are saying the exact same thing. This is stupid. This is just going to divide all it's going to do is give the Democrats a massive win, right? You would think that would be. I mean, the closest comparison in our lifetime to something like this happened was Ross Perot. Remember Ross Perot? Remember the old Texas guy, the IBM CEO, founder that had said, "Hey, listen, a car is not a hood. See, listen, you got to balance the budget. See, you got to do this." And everybody loved that idea, but all it wound up doing was giving the Democrats a big win in that particular midterm 20 some odd years ago. But this is a little different. I'll tell you why. I think so, anyway, because of what Elon posted. Before we get to that, though, let's get to Trump's reaction. They got him in. This is loud. Sorry about that. It's always outside of either Air Force One or Marine One. Let's get Trump's reaction to the idea of an America Party. He loves the idea. Even loves the name, right? Just kidding. No, he thinks it's stupid, and he's going to do everything he possibly can to derail this, which will include, and I know this is going to hurt for everybody, it's going to include a lot of personal shots against Elon on Truth Social. It's just the way things kind of work, I guess. But here was Trump's reaction just the other day.
And I think starting a third party just adds to confusion. It really seems to have been developed for two parties. Third parties have never worked. So he can have fun with it, but I think it's ridiculous.
All right, thinks it's ridiculous. I get it. I understand that, and that's what he has to say. I get it. A lot of us think it's ridiculous. Let me just give you an update, though. And I think this is key to this whole thing, because I kind of have a different view of at least most of the people I talked to over the July 4th weekend about this thing, because most people I know are pissed off about it. Just consider one thing. Maybe this makes the MAGA movement even stronger. And right now you're thinking, you idiot, there's no possible way that could happen. Hold on. You got to really follow what Elon is saying now. And this seems to be the pattern that he follows now. He goes on X, of course, and he goes on these post storms where he used to call them tweets, but he posts out all these things all at once, and it's like this thought process. I don't know whether, people claim it's a ketamine high or whatever the hell it is. But that's how you really get inside the mind of Elon and where things are going. And this is why I say this. It usually turns out to be true. So he put out a post and shared by some pretty prominent people who actually know him, where what Elon kind of intimated was that he's not suggesting that he's going to run a candidate in 2028 for president, okay? That he's not going to do that. So already, even just a couple of days after the formation of the America Party on July 4th of all things, he's already suggesting that. Furthermore, what he's also suggesting is what he wants to do is get past politics and really talk about and hammer out solutions to really important issues that affect all of us. Like, what's his main thing? What's he complaining about? That deficit. And listen, sure, a lot of us are just becoming aware of this right now, of how bad the deficit is. It's the God's honest truth. We are in a death spiral for this thing. A couple of generations left, unless it's one of those slow-moving disasters and we can find a solution. And I know that Trump's plan with this budget is to grow the GDP by a massive amount for an extended period of time. And then hopefully whoever's in next after him, maybe J.D. Vance, can keep it going, and that's how you cut it down. So that, in theory, is the plan. Little risky. Here's why I think we're already starting to see, and this is just my opinion, why we're already starting to see an America Party idea that would keep pushing this forward. Here's the first example. The Elon Musk post just the other day, where he's starting to hint around at this. No, I'm not gonna run a candidate that would threaten J.D. Vance in 2028. No, I'm not gonna do that. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna force them. Oh, I think he'll run candidates at lower level, like they'll primary people in Congress, sure. But what I think they want to do with this America Party is to force these issues to the forefront and keep them going. Let's not forget that Musk has this massive platform, not only as a media presence, he owns X. He's got the most followers, hundreds of millions of followers on this. I mean, if all he had was that, he'd be incredibly influential. By talking about these issues and keeping them on the forefront, he's kind of forcing even a presidential candidate from the MAGA Republican side in 2028 to address them, and further on down the line for congressional candidates, people in Congress, swamp monsters that they're trying to work with to take care of it. That's just my theory. You may have a different one. You may still hate this entire idea. It's like, we just got Trump in, and now there's infighting. Listen, that's politics. You're talking about alpha personalities that will not back down to anything when it comes down to it, at the very, very top. But here's the difference. I know I said this last week. It really is true. This is why I have this feeling. Not a lot of people agree with me in my personal life, I'll tell you that much. I still have this feeling that it's going to work out. Because, just taking Trump and Elon, for example, here's why it's so important. They both have the best interest of America and Americans at heart. They really, truly do. And there's too much evidence to disagree with that. Trump has sacrificed everything we know. Don't forget about the sacrifice that Elon has gone through. Personally, his personal well-being, we know his wealth. He bought Twitter and turned it into X at a loss to protect free speech for Americans. And by the way, I still hold on to this. You may disagree with me on this one too. I don't think Trump wins this election without Elon buying X. I don't think that happens, because it opened up everything, and all of a sudden the Democrats didn't have their echo chamber. They do this kind of stuff. Yes, it's ego. I get it. Whatever. But they also love Americans. They do. That's why I think this is going to work out. It's going to be ugly. Oh, of course. You're talking about politics. Of course, you're talking about massive egos and politics. You cannot have those two concepts without it getting nasty. Of course it is. But again, and I've thrown this out there like 10 times already, think back to like Abe Lincoln, his advisors. They called them the team of rivals. They fought like cats and dogs all the time. Disagreed on almost everything. But Lincoln brought them all in to disagree because they were all smart people, but they had one common denominator. They all wanted to save the Union. Probably different ways to go about it every single day of every single hour of every single day. but they cared about the country and they got it done. That's my feeling on that. Anyway, but we shall see. Maybe I'm completely wrong. It'll get even uglier, and Elon runs himself. I don't know. Who the heck knows? But as of right now, well, this was the horrific part of the weekend. We all know about the Camp Mystic, Texas story, one of those 100-year floods, they say, of the Guadalupe River. As of right now, and this is from a news station just a couple of minutes ago in Texas, you get 82 dead, 10 are still missing. God, that's horrific. That just really is. Oh, and of all things happened on July 4th. Horrific. That's where we are right now. This was one of the... Listen to the... I picked this sound because you got to listen to the pain in this family's voice, in their voices. There's mostly the mother right here. And keep in mind, they're survivors. They have their daughter back. And even they're going through this. So imagine what the families are going through who are still looking for their loved ones. Just absolutely horrific. So here's that family they talked to when their daughter was recovered.
Really good friends lost a daughter. It was at Camp Mystic. They've just had so much loss that, I mean, it's unimaginable. And then, they're still...
Yeah, unimaginable. I guess that's the best way to describe it because I can't imagine it. And you know what? It's been overused so much, this expression, thoughts and prayers. But you know what? There are certain situations where we do need to send thoughts and prayers to people. And this is a case of it because this is one of the worst possible things I could ever imagine. As always is the case, the heroic stories of first responders who've done incredible things there, saving lives, sacrificing their own lives. I think this is one of those tragedies we're going to be hearing about and seeing in documentaries about the heroic part of it for decades upon decades. So, again, thoughts and prayers do matter. So let's send them to those folks and those families because it's just absolutely awful. But doesn't stop some moron like Rosie O'Donnell, who's not even in this country, by the way, but she's overseas living, where is it? Ireland, I think, and she can't stop. She's so twisted by Trump that she can't stop talking about him. And yes, of course, blaming him for this tragedy. And you're thinking, oh, Bill, come on, you're exaggerating. You don't like Rosie O'Donnell. You're just exaggerating this. You actually, no, it happened. You don't believe me? She felt the need to put her fat face in front of a camera and blame Trump for this in her stunningly moronic way.
When the president got all of the early warning systems and the weathering forecast abilities of the government, these are the results that we're going to start to see on a daily basis.
I'm even, you know what? People were telling me at a family get-together I think it was yesterday, about the Rosie O'Donnell quote. I hadn't heard it up to that point. And it was the least surprising thing I've ever heard. I almost like, it would be weird if that idiot didn't go on social media and say something like that to blame Trump for this. The early warning systems. Yeah, well, it's fact. By now it's factually completely incorrect. She's totally wrong. She's an absolute moron. She lives in Ireland now. But really, isn't she kind of like just a shining example, and she's still a big name, so she's like an example of so many people that are actually out there that would blame Trump for this, or would blame the federal government, or blame anything else about this without any facts whatsoever, and they totally believe it. So there's got to be somebody, probably I would bet somebody in your office, sadly maybe even your family, your social group, who sounded and probably said the exact same things that Rosie O'Donnell just did. Completely factually incorrect. I'm not even going to go into the cutting of services and, weather departments because it's just so stupid. But then to come out and say that, to me, is just so incredibly evil. But here's the thing, and here's the takeaway. And it's not nice, but I'll say it anyway. So people like Rosie O'Donnell that are in your life, that do this kind of stuff, and they're out there. There are people who are so broken by Trump, they have such a bad case of TDS. You may love them, I get it, and you can keep loving them, but guys, they're not coming back. There's not. I don't mean like physically coming back, like her from Ireland. I mean like mentally, they're not coming back. We're at the point now, right, of like a big chunk of the year gone in Trump's first administration. I think we've had the A/B test case. people like that and say those kinds of things and look for an opportunity of a horrific tragedy like at Camp Mystic to blame Trump, it's not going to be fixed. It's just not. They're gone. You can't deal with them. You can't talk to them. They're on a whole different level of deranged evil, is what I call it. They're just gone. So here's my tip. Don't try. I just wouldn't try. And they're usually the loudest of the bunch, and I get that. But less and less. The great thing is less and less people are listening to them because they sound more and more ridiculous. So if you got somebody like that in your close social group somewhere, in your circle, just let them ramble. Don't engage. I know it's infuriating, but those people are just so far beyond repairable, they're not coming back. So just let them. Oh, and by the way, this popped up this morning, by the way. Everybody had the question. You know, this is the early warning systems that Trump cut back. That's why this happened. Was it really? Because not only are you factually incorrect, there's actually an easy story to look up that has information all over the place we can all access right now that in 1987, pretty close, about an hour away from Camp Mystic, Texas, there was a similar kind of flood, flash flood of the Guadalupe River. It was in Comfort, Texas in 1987. I think 10 died, 30 were missing until they found some back, whatever. But a similar kind of situation. So not only is she factually incorrect, TDS twisted, she couldn't even look up to see if this was something that happened before. Without any knowledge whatsoever of the situation, to pretend that she cares about the families and this tragedy, she used it as an opportunity, completely clueless and completely misguided, to take a shot at Trump and Trump supporters. Like I said, guys, gone. She and others are just gone, and they're not coming back. All right, that was the tragic part of the weekend. This, to me, if you're a rock fan, I'd say even if you're an entertainment fan or nostalgia, whatever it is, this thing that happened in Birmingham, England over the weekend was truly incredible. Now, biased, I happen to be a huge Ozzy fan. I'm a huge Black Sabbath fan. I'm a huge rock and metal fan. So I was all about this thing. It's called Back to the Beginning. So it was Ozzy's last performance. It was Black Sabbath's last performance. But really what it was a goodbye from Ozzy Osbourne, the legend. I know he's a mess now. I know he's been on everything but roller skates. Everybody knows this. It's well established. Excuse me. But how this happened and how they put it together was truly something amazing. The band is from Birmingham, so that's why they did it there. Now, the original plan for this festival, is what it turned into, was just a Black Sabbath show. Nobody really knew what kind of shape Ozzy was going to be in. So they started to talk about bringing in some other bands, just in case, to appease the crowd, and it was live streamed and everything. Every band in the world wanted to be involved, so it wound up being absolutely huge. Here's what happened over the weekend, and it was on a live stream, but the takeaway is it was done so incredibly well. Other performers showed up that couldn't wait to be part of this thing. Were Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Tool, Mastodon, so there were some newer metal bands, Anthrax, Hailstorm, Tom Morello, who kind of organized all the bands on this, Slayer, tons more, and they also put, for some individual piece performers, some supergroups, Supergroup A and Supergroup B. One of the supergroups, we even got a rock and roll surprise if you're into this kind of thing. Steven Tyler shows up in one of the supergroups, and he does Train Kept A-Rollin', Walk This Way, and A Whole Lot of Love, the Zeppelin song. Why is this significant? Because Steven Tyler, Aerosmith had to break up because he broke his vocal cords. Well, it was just a few songs, but he was back, and that's pretty damn cool. Some other surprises were there as well, but the main thing being a send-off for specifically Ozzy Osbourne, but Black Sabbath as well. Now, the reaction to this has been amazing, because I think, just my speculation and a wild guess, I think it has sparked a whole new interest in rock and roll. I really believe that. And I'll play this final song for you, too. Black Sabbath walked away out of the stage. Ozzy didn't. He was in a chair. But still with, of course, Paranoid. And it sounded like this. All right, now, if you're a Sabbath fan or a Ozzy fan at all, you just listen to that. Not the visual, because I get it. He can't even walk anymore. He's got Parkinson's, everything else, back problems. But he still sounded good. And that's the key why this thing came across so beautifully. And all these other people showing their love for it, and the fans showing the love and the dedication to it. When people tell you that rock is dead, not quite. Because I'm going to make a bold statement here you may or may not agree with. I don't think there would be any pop dedication concert that could have been pulled off like this. First of all, it's disposable music. And secondly, loyalty, dedication, real true hardcore fans, they got this done. And it was amazing. So record companies and marketers may not promote rock, but no, it's certainly not dead. I thought it was amazing. I really do. I didn't see the whole live stream. I just saw clips here and there, so I'm definitely going to check that out a little bit later on. And apparently it's been trending like all weekend long ever since it happened. I am out of here. I got to get on a plane. Got to take care of some other business too and sign some things. I'm sure you're busy too, getting back in for the long holiday weekend. I hope you still have all your fingers and toes from the 4th of July, but most importantly, thanks for being here. I appreciate you, as always. The Wicked Radio live stream, part of Wicked Wisdom with Bill Adams, all your social media platforms. If you're watching on the replay or listening later on the podcast, like and follow and download and share and put notifications on and all that social media crap we got these days. But thanks for being here, as always. I always appreciate you. All right, I'll talk to you home tomorrow, God willing. I'll talk to you then. Thanks for being here.